All right, it's Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here, Patrick Reusse with me as always. Patrick, just kind of ashamed nothing happened over the weekend. Maybe we should not even do a show today because no,
Yes,
just kidding.
unbelievable.
I did a special edition with Randy Johnson yesterday, so we'll get to go for hockey here in a little bit. But Patrick, I think it's no brainer that we would start talking about the Timberwolves. That game Sunday had a little bit of everything. Just to recap, in case you missed it, everybody. Rudy Gobert tries to punch Kyle Anderson in the second quarter, gets sent home by the team at halftime because of reportedly the tensions escalated again at halftime. But that's only part of it. Jaden McDaniels, frustrated with being in foul trouble, punched a wall, broke a bone somewhere in his hand. He's out. And in the midst of all this, they rally from double digits, beat the Pelicans, get the 8th seed, and now they're going to play the Lakers tomorrow. Is that about right?
That's pretty much what happened, and it would be. I'm sure that Rudy Gobert would be the win the biggest idiot of the day contest, but I'm not saying it's a layup there. I think Jaden McDaniels should get much more credit for being a
Yes.
moron in this case. And I'd like to see them slap a little $50,000 fine on him too for being this stupid, to basically eliminate any chance you have of beating the Lakers on Tuesday. They can't. They can get Rudy out there. They can take him with them or not. It doesn't make any difference. He won't turn that game around. But they needed McDaniels to try to guard some of the Lakers, and now he's gosh, what a moron! What a immature child he is. And then Rudy, the rumor was in Utah, half his team hated him. And now we're trying out why. Now we're finding out why he's just a whiner. He's a whiner and he's not an adult. His referee whining a couple of weeks ago or 10 days ago was ridiculous. And then yesterday, this is unbelievable that he would throw it. But now Anderson's obviously got a smart mouth on him. We all
Yes.
love him, but it is part of the incredible thing that even BSN, the greatest homers in the history of sports, couldn't pass up the chance to show Rudy throwing a punch at Kyle Anderson in
Right.
the. This is like one of the what three greatest days in franchise history, would you say, as far as describing what this franchise is? This
Yes.
this is the greatest. This is, I mean, right there. I always thought one of my favorite moments was when Jr. Missed his morning press conference with some phony baloney excuse, and then before he was introduced that evening, Sid Hartman threatened to punch Jack McCloskey for not drafting Caleb Cheney, and you had
Oh,
two. You got two guys, one in their 70s and the other in his 60s, threatened to punch each other at a press conference introducing J.R. Rader. That was pretty good, but this is something else because this is done by the players, and what a franchise! I mean, they're just they. I've never thought whether I'd like to be the beat writer on a crazy crew like that or if
yeah.
it would drive me crazy. But it's poor Chris Hine, our guy. He's working on a story on Kyle Anderson's
Yeah.
leadership,
I
and
just
he's
pulled
got this quote from Rudy.
I just
He's
pulled it
got this
up.
quote,
Yeah.
yeah, this quote from Rudy, and he gets his plane. He misses his flight because they cancel his flight or something. He doesn't get back here. And while he's trying to get back here, he finds out that Rudy punched Kyle. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Let,
I don't know what to say about him.
let me read the quote quick and then we can keep going. He's the quote that he got, and this wasn't like something from 2 months ago. This was from like 2 days ago. This was from a day
Yeah.
before this happened. Chris tweeted that he had gotten it on on Saturday. He said the quote was, Kyle wants to win. This is Rudy Gobert talking. Kyle wants to win, and sometimes he's a little aggressive in the way he talks, but I don't take it personally. I receive it in a positive way because it comes from a place of wanting me to be the best Rudy I can be and wanting us to win. I love his competitiveness, love the way he plays the game, the way he makes others around him better. He's been a huge part of this year. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I don't know what they're going to do. This being Minnesota and us being so sensitive, they probably not take him out there with them. I guess we'll find out later today. But obviously, we'll find out later today. But I'd take him. I'd have him play. I mean, but I'd ask the team too. I'd say, okay, what do you think? Do you want him on your team or not?
Right.
And if they don't want him, then don't take him with you. But I and then in the NBA where the team rules all, you got Torian Prince and guys like this. Let's not forget another thing going on here is they don't have Naz Reid with the broken wrist, and now they don't have McDaniels, who's being more. You know what? When they have the list of injuries, how they describe what the injuries are.
Yeah.
They should, in parentheses, they should put moron after
parentheses wall.
Jaden McDaniels moron. But I don't know. It's what to do with them. But when you think that they've given up 4 number 1 draft choices for this guy,
5 total if you count Walker Kessler, yeah.
Yes, including half the roster that's going to be playing against them Tuesday, because they ended up all going to L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Vanderbilt and those fellas just
Beasley, D'Lo,
laughing, saying, "Bring them on."
Yeah.
I got the Lakers by 25 on Tuesday night, no matter if Rudy plays or not. It's I don't think it's a great advantage that they. Well, you would have to go out there either way that they won. Okay, they claimed 8th place, and Anthony was great down the stretch, and they come back. But that's the other thing, Mike. We always talk about distractions in sports. The media, we're always high on distraction. Will that be a distraction? Yesterday, they've never been a more distracted team in the history.
That's true.
And they come back and win. I think it's the modern athlete. They don't care about any of this crap. They just think these guys are idiots, and it's fantastic though. It's so Timberwolfy that it's just amazing.
Well, and the season makes more sense now, right? Doesn't it? Just the fact that they've been so way up, way down, never any consistency. It's probably because there's probably been all this internal tension throughout the whole year, and sometimes they pull together and play well, and sometimes they hate each other and can't beat these terrible teams. Like in some ways, this little scuffle, which KG, by the way, called a light scuffle on Twitter. I love that. Nothing like I read KG's tweet. Nothing like a light scuffle to tighten up the screws before the playoffs. Let's go Timberwolves. But yeah, it kind of contextualizes the season. By the way, I did a kind of a humorous but telling Twitter poll yesterday. I said, "Are you Team Kyle or Team Rudy?" We've got 1,647 votes, and we got 90% on Team Kyle right now. So it tells you where the fan base is at on who they back in this case.
Yeah, it's it's just you make a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but maybe this is, Finch was quoted as saying immaturity has been a problem for this team all year.
Yeah.
And, he's how would you like to be him?
Wow.
He's this calm guy,
right? This tactician,
who tries to, who makes excuses for all of them. Generally speaking, although once in a while he's not complete BSer, but I mean, what can he say? He's got to answer the questions too.
Yes.
Connolly released a statement.
I saw that. Thank you, Tim.
The chairman of the Turkey Committee, by the way, late last night, announced that 7.5 months is way too much lead time. But he can never recall having a more solid favorite 7.5 months in advance than Tim Connolly right now. What, $8 million a year for this?
Yes.
Stiff.
My favorite is when the Wolves fans who hate him spell his name KAHNNELLY on Twitter.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. That's good. Oh, yeah. Well, at least David unlike Connolly, David wouldn't shut up, so you could get quotes from him as he tries to explain himself.
That's true. That's
One
true.
of the great.
He got in trouble on your old radio station, did
Oh
he not?
yes, so we got him fined 50,000. Mackey and I had him on, and he said that Malik Beasley had promised, not Malik Beasley, with the other Beasley.
Oh yeah, Michael Beasley.
Michael Beasley had promised to stop smoking as much pot on the show. And he was the gift that kept on giving.
Yes.
This other guy, Connolly, just hides once in a while. He came out. Ferrero had a good interview with him about 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, maybe. But, I don't, it's just, they put the dis and dysfunction, that's for sure, all the time. Everybody for 30 years. It's amazing.
Take a playcation to Mystic Lake. With 24/7 gaming, the good times never have to end. And you can satisfy your cravings at our restaurants and bars. Or relax in one of our luxurious hotel rooms. Those that play together, stay together. And don't forget to join Club M so you can spark new memories and bask in the rewards along the way. Follow the lights to Mystic Lake, where every day is play day.
Well, and the thing is, too, I mean, obviously there's still games to play right now, and who knows what happens Tuesday. This team is so hot, cold, up, down. Whenever you think they're going to lose, they win. Whenever you think they're going to win, they lose. I think you're right. The Lakers are playing well. The Lakers might have the best record in the West since the All-Star break, so that's
17-6, yeah.
Yeah,
17.
That's hard. And then, they would have a home game after that to get the 8 seed. They could play Denver if they get through all that, but at some point in the next few days or the next couple weeks, the offseason is going to hit. And this game 82 makes the offseason a lot more complicated for Mr. Tim Connolly, just because if we were thinking at some point that, something needed to happen with this roster, and maybe the thing that needed to happen is a Towns trade, like how do you approach the offseason now, having what happened yesterday hanging over it, in terms of, it seems like there's there's something going on with Gobert and the team, and I don't know what it is exactly, but maybe it's just a one-off, but this feels like it complicates the offseason to me.
Yeah, I think you're making a very good point there. I thought that, when Cat looks like an adult in the room, you're really in trouble. But they are so up against it, because if they keep Cat and Gobert, I don't think they can sign Naz Reid, can they?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Naz would want to stay for that.
No, not for. You're right. So I don't know. It's just a complete mess, and I don't know how he gets them out of it. And you'd really, I think a lot of us said, okay, we thought, what are they giving up here? What are they doing? Giving up all these draft choices. And then you thought, well, hey, this guy's supposed to be smart. He built the Denver thing. There must be something going on here. Who knew that Rudy was, I didn't know enough about him, except he started COVID in this country. All I know is he shut us down because of COVID. But and I'd seen him play defense and stuff. I had no idea he was a moron too. So it's unbelievable. I don't know where they go from here. I really don't. And luckily they got Ant, and the fans love Ant, and the crowds this year were great. Really,
yes.
I looked something up though. The NBA last year, they were 21st in attendance, averaging a little over 16,000. This year, they're averaging, I don't know, now more because of yesterday. They had a bigger crowd, but they're averaging about 16,750, and they're 27th in the league.
Wow.
Everybody, the NBA's had a great year at the gate, and as far as interest and everything. But at their soul, they're still the Timberwolves, and I don't know what it is. But yesterday rates is, I don't know, craziest day in franchise history.
It's one of them. I mean, especially when you combine it with, game 82, getting into the 8 seed, at least giving themselves a couple chances at not just making the playoffs, but let's not forget a couple chances of avoiding the lottery, where as slim as the odds might be, they could end up owing a pick to Utah if they wind up in the lottery this year. And part of and the shame of this too is Ant had a game where he he had a lot of stats, including 8 turnovers yesterday.
Yes.
But he had 26 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 4 blocks, including this block on McCollum towards the end of the game. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
This it overshadowed, another one of these kind of transcendent games by him where you realize that they can build this all around him if they can just figure this out a little bit.
And I mean, he was massive down the stretch.
Oh, yeah.
He was unbelievable. And, that was the best I've seen him play in a long time down the stretch. He was, he was sick for a while, and
he had the ankle.
Wasn't me. Yeah, he had the ankle. He wasn't making shots. He wasn't getting to the basket hardly at all. And yesterday he was just a warrior trying to get there. And it's as I said, it just gives me this message about the modern athletes. If there was a team that should have said, the hell with it.
Not our day.
It's not it. If ever there was going to say, we're 14 down. We got morons running we got 2 morons, one with a broken hand, the other one was sent home like he was a 3rd grader. And, I pointed out that Rudy shouldn't feel bad because Daniel Weikerty and I both got sent home from school when we were in the 4th grade for swearing at the same game. So, we got sent home. We've all been sent home sometimes. Most of us were 10, when that happened, not 30, making millions. But if ever there's a team that should have said, what do we care if we're 9th or 8th? What do we care? Let New Orleans have it. It should have been this one. Right. So, in a way, we should be proud of them.
Yes.
If there wasn't this incredible blemish that has them once again as a national joke, because you can't go on the internet today. The number one sports thing on the internet is the Timberwolves fighting the punch.
Yes.
How many punch their ticket jokes are there going to be? Every headline in the newspaper, every headline in the country says Timberwolves punch ticket to 8 seed. I don't know. I wish I had more insight into these. And McDaniels is just a quiet, kind of kid. Whenever I've been around him, he doesn't say much. So he's, and he's been very erratic, but when he's good, he's really good. And Gobert, I don't know. I don't obviously know anything about him, but I've seen him, he's a pretty good talker and stuff like that. But I don't know. You keep hearing guys that know people from Utah who say they couldn't stand him out there either. So we'll find out. I guess I say play him though. What the hell?
Just roll with it. Just go with it. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll learn a lot about how deep this problem is by whether they leave him here or not.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. You're right. That's a good idea. That's a good thought you have. Maybe this is why this is because every day they have to make a decision on whether they like each other or not.
Yeah, right. Can they? Because he's got to fly with him if he's going to go.
I mean, all year long, 52 games with a sore calf. And we kept saying, "Boy, what kind of message is Cat sending the team?" Yeah. Now we're saying, "Well, watch, Cat was out there fighting, and yesterday, good old Cat was out there as a team leader yesterday. Unbelievable."
Can't have guys fighting on the plane. They'll turn this plane right around. Well,
yeah, right. That's right.
Well, they did the Gophers hockey team a favor. We didn't spend the first 20 minutes talking about the national title game Saturday, although, like I said, Randy Johnson and I did a special edition yesterday to get some of that out there. You got to feel, I think you feel bad, especially for Motzko. He just looked like, his post-game presser, he was just so down, obviously. And this was their year. They had the 2-0 lead. Playing a very good team. I think Quinnipiac was better than I realized they were, but they just couldn't get anything going there in the last 30 minutes. They had like barely any. They had 2 shots in the third period, and I don't know, Patrick. I don't know. That was the team. That was the year. That one's like Bob Motzko said. That one's going to hurt for a long time if you follow that program or if you're in that program.
Yeah, they won't have this kind of talent again. They're going to
No.
have talent, but they won't have, this, Nice is, you got Nice going to Toronto and they can't wait to get him. And Favor's probably going to be playing for the
Wild.
Wild in the playoffs. And, Cooley's probably going to take off now. And I think it's going to cause a lot of them five or six, and then they got the two senior defensemen. They're going to take off too, Luke Coleman, Johnson. So, but the whole thing is there's a big debate now. The hardcore Gophers hockey crowd is blaming that think they're hockey experts are blaming it on Moscow, and they thought it was a strategy try to get into the shell and
Right.
hold the lead. But I'm not sure they could get out of the shell. They never want to, how many times they're down in their own end. They were down in their own end. Somebody said he just let them skate free coming into the Gophers end. Well, 16 of the minutes they were already in the Gophers end.
I know
the
it.
20 minutes. They didn't have to skate in. And then they didn't win a face-off for how long?
Yes.
You're trying to kill that, when you get the penalty and you're trying to kill the penalty and you're trying to relieve the pressure and you can't win a face-off for, I don't know how many face-offs there were the last 10 minutes, but I can't remember when they really needed one where they could throw the puck out when the penalty was, when they were trying to kill that penalty. They couldn't win a face-off. I talked to Louis last night. That was he was complaining about.
Yeah.
And I talked to a couple other guys, and they weren't impressed with the Gophers' aggressiveness, but I'm not sure they were capable of being aggressive because they just were. These guys were stronger than them. They were maybe better, maybe better coach, maybe had a better idea what they wanted to do than the Gophers did. But the Gophers never had anybody, be able to move the puck out of the zone. I can't believe your whole strategy is to stay down in your own end for 15 minutes and trying to hold a lead. That somebody was, if they'd ever won a battle for a puck and skated it out, it might have been a different looking game. They never had any chances. It was incredible. It was just an incredible domination of a team. I mean, you go back to how they looked against Boston U in the third period.
Yeah.
They're just flying,
right.
And they never the Quinnipiac just. I think Quinnipiac. I don't care about NHL draft choices and everything. I think they were better.
I think they were a better team. Yeah, especially that day they were. I agree with that, yes. And I don't know exactly what was going on either. Whether it was they got tired, they got just outplayed. If it was a bad matchup, but you're right. Even when you play a defensive style, and Moscow said the way they were playing was not by design. Exactly, that was what he said. And even when you're playing a defensive style or trying to hold a lead late in the game, you're not trying to play in your own end. You're trying to get it trying to get it to center, get it in, get a little forecheck going, spend some time down in the other team's zone just so it doesn't feel like it's this kind of one-sided affair. You want to play a lot of neutral zone hockey. You don't want to play a lot of hockey in your own end.
Yeah, they were down there all the time. There was, the ballsy move by the coach to pull his goalie when he's on his power play. I'll say that. But, you never did the puck ever cross did the puck ever leave the zone in that situation? I don't think it did.
I mean, they got two shots, so it's a couple times, but not much. It was very
one with 3 minutes to go, 3 minutes in, and one with 3 minutes left. Those were the only two shots in the period.
I know it.
Unbelievable. It was just an incredible domination, and just after you've watched that team quite a bit, you couldn't believe what you were watching, so you want to blame somebody more than Quinnipiac, and you can't believe that because all the draft choices and Gophers have, and you presume Gophers are a better team, but they weren't. Not the last two periods. I mean that it wasn't just the third period. they were the better team in the second period, Quinnipiac. So
Yeah, even at
I don't
2-0,
know.
I didn't have a great feeling about that game. It just seemed like there was something about the way the ice was tilted that didn't feel right to me.
No, worst lead in hockey.
2-0,
What they
baby.
always say, worst lead in hockey, 2-0. So, yeah, it's too bad. I was, Moscow's a good dude, and
Yeah, he
I
is.
was like, and it seemed like this team had, Faber came back to try to win it, and how about you know what? I had this one thought. One of my favorite moments in the history of American sports was when you used to watch Frank Broyles on when Frank Broyles was on with Keith Jackson doing the games, and
Oh, yeah.
and he'd always say, "Pete, where was the safety man? And where was the safety man?" And and we bellow that out every once in a while. And on that winning goal, I said,
Oh, yeah.
"Where was the safety man?
Yeah, how do you get
what
10
going
seconds
on
into
there?
overtime? Yeah,
What happened?
I don't know.
Happened? Where was the safety? You back up. They're
Yeah.
breaking out of there. God almighty, it was unbelievable. Apparently, they've run that play off the face off a couple of times and got themselves goals. Quinnipiac. So, yeah. It also hurts to lose to a school that had to didn't have D1 hockey till 1999, and none of us know anything about it.
Yes.
If you lose to Boston U or Boston College or
Right.
something, you can explain it. But Quinnipiac,
Yes.
come on.
Lost to an off-brand, not a name brand.
Right. That's right.
It was their
what?
first national championship in anything, from what I understood.
Yes. Well, you know what? First
What?
hockey game I ever listened to on the radio, 1954.
Uh-huh.
Never seen a hockey game and didn't see one for about 6 more years. They beat somebody 14-1 in the semifinals of the national tournament, which was only a 4-team tournament, Broadmoor. Okay. And then they got beat by Rensselaer Polytechnic
Oh, yeah.
Institute,
RPI.
Never heard of. They lost to RPI, and as a 9-year-old kid, I couldn't believe they lost to RPI. And now as a 77-year-old man, I can't believe they lost to Quinnipiac, for goodness sakes. That's hockey anyway.
Last 2 title games, we lost to Quinnipiac and Union. Those last 2.
Oh, yeah, Union too. Yeah, but Union was like all grandpas. They were all like 26 years old. All of them had kids and stuff. So, they were just these old men. And that Gopher team wasn't nearly as good.
No.
Not in the same yard as
this was their best team since 2002.
Yes, I thought
most talented. Yeah.
It's going to be hard to shake off. That's for sure, because they won't. They got a commitment from this super duper star for 2004. I can't 24. Remember his name.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's going to be the number one. He could be the number one pick in the NHL draft, and he's from Boston.
Oh yeah,
area.
Yeah.
And so they beat him, but he hasn't signed yet. Obviously,
yeah.
You got to know that they're all working. Are you sure you want to go out there?
Right.
BC and BU and all of them are trying to get him to change his mind, and of course, Gophers can't whine if that happens because they stole Logan Cooley,
Michigan,
from Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, Notre Dame. Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, very disappointing to say the least, and. But I don't know if it was. I don't know if it can all be blamed on strategy, like the Gopher fans. A lot of the Gopher fans want it to be.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just I think it was just one of those games where everybody expected one thing, and you're right. I think you made a good point where when a game like that goes sideways, you want to blame somebody, and the easiest thing is to say you went too conservative. When maybe there's a little bit of that, but maybe a lot of it was just they got it taken to them. Yeah. Patrick, you were at the Twins over the weekend. They took 2 out of 3 from the Astros, which is a good sign relative to last year in particular when they got beat bad 6 times by Houston and did not win any. But you found a younger, enthusiastic crowd that kind of likes these faster games, did you not?
Yes, I did. They actually, they didn't have any. They told me Saturday that they weren't going to have anybody at Sunday's games because we don't go to games on Easter for some reason. We all got to go to Grandma's house, I guess. But they only had But Saturday they had a really, the crowd kept getting larger, 26,000. I looked out there at the bar and you saw all these people hanging out there on the two decks, and it wasn't really. I just thought what I wanted to do is just walk out there and see what people thought about the speed up rules, right?
Yeah.
And because if they were as enthused about it as I was,
Yes.
But I ran into this collection of downtown many, that's we forget how many people are living downtown now, and
Yes.
more and more by the day, and they're not all, but most of them are either 28-year-old recently married couples that don't have kids yet,
Yep.
or 30-year-old singles who are working places. A lot of them work out in the suburbs and live downtown because they love the North Loop and they love that whole idea. And they're also, they want to do something, they're downtown, they want to do something. And the ballpark's pretty close, and they're letting them in for $50 a month. You can do whatever
that's amazing.
you want. And anyway, I talked to this crew of people out there, and they're two hardcore baseball fans, but then also 20 of their friends there, and who are just having a good time. But everybody likes the fact. I think it's now safe. I use the words to go to a ball game to say, "Hey, you all want to go to the ball game?" Because it's only 2.5 hours, right?
Yeah, it makes a difference.
In the past, it was 2.5 hours too, but you left in the sixth inning.
Yes,
right?
You didn't see
Nobody
the ending.
Ever stayed for the end. Now you can, if you live downtown, so you're not to have to beat traffic. You walk back home, and there's this crowd there, and you wonder why they have these $50 tickets. And then, as I wrote, and then you find out the Twins are trying to get all those kids, all those younger people living downtown to come to 10 ball games a year, because what else is there to do?
Yeah.
How much do you think the local bars are enjoying having these faster games?
I saw a picture of Cowboy Jack's the other day, and it was crawling with people. So
yeah, well, but it starts at 6:40 now, but most of the weekday night games, and this is when the youngsters downtown are looking. It's not like they're not going to go out on a Tuesday night.
Yes, right.
And so now it's, even if they stay to the end of the game, it's over at 9, 10. They got to go get a drink before they go. You can't just go back home, can you?
Yeah, you got all that time on your hands.
Unless you meet one another down there someplace. But it had a really terrific vibe, I thought, on Saturday. It was a nice day, and there was the crowd they sold 6,300 tickets on the day of the game. So, and it's a little easier. You don't have to line up at the box office anymore. You just do it on your app. But it was. I think that the poll ads are. Somebody said, "Oh, what a." This huge building that's getting built behind the apartment building is enormous.
Oh, yeah.
They have like 10 floors to go. And the poll ads have the Four Seasons, which is a different crowd, obviously. The units they have there are a million something. But this is an apartment building, and then you're saying, oh, geez, people are going to be able to watch the game for free. And they're saying, fine, get more people down. Everybody, if you're the Twins, you're the Timberwolves, you want people downtown, don't you?
Yes.
Living downtown, and that's the crowd. That's part of the crowd they're trying to get. If they can get, 3,000 of those people to show up every Saturday, that'll be a nice boost, because they spend $50 for a ticket for a month, but then they go in and drink beers and don't care how much they cost. So, anyway, it's kind of it's not the soccer crowd, but it's kind of the same vibe as the soccer crowd.
I get you. I think you're right. That kind of younger crowd. I think the soccer crowd's more kind of diehard soccer, but I think some of the people you talked to were, baseball fans that maybe were turned off on the game for a while, or were, not into it. And, if you get lured in by the fact that you can get in cheap and the game's going to move faster, you're probably going to stick with it longer. It's not rocket science, but it's smart, right? It's
Yeah,
smart.
it is. And I got some feedback on when the column got tweeted out that from people say, yeah, I was downstairs in left field, not in left field, but down in the lower deck and in left field. He said everybody 10-1 was all youthful,
Yeah.
28, 30 people, not with great attention to the game, but with enough to know that it was that when they looked out there, something was happening anyway. And it is incredible, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Now I saw they had a 348 yesterday. I've been checking time.
Okay.
That was a 12-inning game with a lot of
Okay.
runs. So,
Okay. Well, that's,
but I mean, there was Saturday's game was 9-6.
Yeah.
9-6. A lot of action. 20, 33, 16 strikeouts for the Twins, or 17.
Yeah.
And it was 227.
It's amazing.
It is amazing how well it's working. And I did, after the game, say Rocco did his little thing, and he was done. And I said, "Hey, Rocco, in the great inventions in the history of the Western civilization, where would you put the pitch clock?" And he said, 11 out of 10.
I saw him say that.
That ever happened.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how I don't know, some of the players aren't as all 100% in, but the guys like Rocco and the coaches and the umpires and everybody else love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and the team itself has been pretty good too. They're 6-3. I know they lost yesterday, but they're winning 2 out of every 3 so far. They're getting pretty good starting pitching still. I know Ryan gave up 4 the other day, and Malley gave up some yesterday, so it's not going to be 0 or 1 every game. And if they can, they got some injuries in the outfield starting to pile up a little bit, but if they can hit just enough, they'll be okay this year at least.
Well, the first 2 games they struck out 33 Astros, and the Astros based their whole success on putting the ball in play. Right, they're the team. Now they got a little different lineup this year than they did because now Philly's not playing. But it was. I mean, they got power arms, and Joe Ryan pitched great except for 3 minutes. That was the fastest rally in history. They scored 4 runs. A couple of first pitch hits, then a walk or something, then a boom. That Alvarez hit a home run. I saw that. I said it was a complete rocket. I saw, and so I just happened to see on a crawl 116 miles an hour was the second fastest ball hit this year or something. So it was just boom, boom. Even I was thinking every other 4-run rally I've seen in the last 10 years took 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This one took 3. So I think it really has almost rescued the game from because that all of the the number one excuse you heard for not going, it's so slow, I can't stand it, blah blah, and that excuse is gone. It's incredible. And I'll put up with 2 strikes or 2 balls called during the game because somebody's
not ready to go.
There was a debate on this yesterday, and I saw somebody said, well, every sport has rules. You got to follow them. Everybody, you hate to see a strike called, but every sport has a rule. So, so that's, you don't shoot a free
you don't shoot a free throw within 10 seconds, you lose your free throw. You don't don't get the playoff in football, you get a 5-yard penalty. Like, it's just pay attention to the time.
That's right. It's been great so far. Boy, I don't know if you saw much of the game yesterday, but that kid for Houston, look out, Hunter Brown.
He can pitch. Yeah, he can pitch.
Man, he had some nasty stuff. So it is. They had to do something, Mike, and I think they still might have to move the mound back a foot or so because these guys are throwing too hard. Man. It's just it's impossible to hit. Whether you're in the box for. Whether you get to walk around for 3 minutes or you just get in the box, these guys are still really hard to hit because the stuff is so good. That poor guy who came up to bat against Johan Durant at the end of the game Saturday in the shadows.
Oh yeah.
He couldn't strike out fast enough.
No.
3 pitches, So yeah,
Yeah.
the pitching is so good, but the game is. I can't believe that Rob Manfred actually did something to help the game.
Exactly. I'm with you.
Fantastic.
He's tried his best to ruin things for several years, but man, he just when you think he went and did something that might have saved it.
Yeah. Now I don't know if I guess it's more the managers than anybody, but you could almost get rid of the free runner at second base too.
Yeah, I think
Because
you
that
could
was
too.
a time thing as much as anything.
Yep.
But the managers want that rule because they're afraid to use it the way they use their bullpens now. They don't like to have to play 12 or 13 innings someday. So
Really
anyway,
quick, Patrick, Masters was awfully good too. Let's talk 1 minute or 2 minutes here.
Yeah, it was boy, Koepka went in the tank, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He was 4 ahead and looking very confident when they started the marathon. And I think those guys, he and Rahm played 12 holes or 13. Was it 13 holes in the morning? 12 or 13? 12 or 13? No, I guess it was 12. They were done with 6 holes, and he was up 4, and he ends up getting beat by 5, right? So he he got beat by Rahm playing however many holes he played with him yesterday. So let's see, 30 holes, beat him by 8 strokes yesterday.
Yeah.
So
well,
and Rahm, what a player! And he looks on a course. He's only 28 years old, but he's got a 40-year-old body on him. As far as he's obviously in good shape. It just looks like he's lumpy.
Right.
He's just got an odd body. But when you hear him talk, he's really a sharp guy and an outgoing guy. But when he's on the golf course, there's not a lot of humor. And
no,
he's a fantastic player, and he also saved us from the Live Bonanza.
Yes,
Phil Reed and Koepka they'll finish in the top 6. So I'm sure Live is going to be celebrated. What's with Phil that he can go down there and play, and he can't play anywhere else? It's
I don't know.
He played good yesterday. Great yesterday, 65. But I've never been a Phil fan, even when he was popular. Okay.
Yes.
But Smiling Phil, I've always thought it was a phony act. But and I've been around him enough, and he's not very popular with the other players either.
No.
Even for the whole Live thing. But you gotta give him credit. He goes out and shoots 65, and by the end, the crowd was roaring and in his favor. Weird tournament though. Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy don't make the cut. And, but Rahm is definitely the best player in the world right now, and it is interesting. Now his wife's an Arizona State gal. She's
okay,
and Mickelson's brother coached him at Arizona State. Mickelson's brother. There was a quote Phil turned into a PR man. He was just saying how great Rahm was. And he said the first time he played with him, he was a young guy and he shot 60. No, he said the first time he played with him was just as a pickup round in college because of his brother. He shot 62.
Wow.
So, yeah, he could play. And he was one of those 12-year-old Spanish phenomenons too. You know, he was a kid, but it is funny when one of those Spanish guys wins, man. The crew that shows up, they love those guys. They love those guys. And Jim Nantz working hard to make a big deal out of another Spanish guy wins on Sevy's birthday. That worked for Sergio, who actually knew Sevy.
Right.
But not quite so much this time. But it was it was amazing they got it in because it looked like that it was flooding down there. Man alive, the rain they had. The creeks down there were up at the top of their banks and anything. I gotta mention one more thing. They bought that land from the Augusta Country Club to move the tee back on 13 and get it up there and on the other side of the fence. And I always wonder how they did it. They bought the 8th green and the 9th fairway, which was right behind their golf course. So they had to figure out $25 million
Yeah.
in 2017.
Amazing.
For that. That is some high price real estate.
Yes.
And I saw the release from the Augusta Country. We have reached an agreement with our great neighbors next door. Yeah, I held them up like thieves.
Yeah.
$25 million for that land. Plus, they had to redo the golf course for them to get those to replace those 2 holes.
That's amazing. Well,
anyway,
great tournament. Nobody punched each other or punched a wall either. So
good stuff from Suhan in today's paper too.
Yes.
Ladies and
I
gentlemen.
agree. He did a good job there for sure.
Yep.
He was on a few times with me last week, kind of setting it all up and talking about the early round. So, yeah, he does a great job covering it. Patrick,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Thanks.
Talk to you. Bye-bye.